We all know that loose connections can get hot and cause all sorts of problems, but there's one specific type of loose connection that can do something much worse. It can cause the connected loads to catch on fire and it can burn your house down. And what makes it worse is that most people won't even realize it's happening until it's too late. This type of loose connection can occur anywhere in your electrical system, but it's most common when people are using portable generators during power outages. Today we'll cover loose connections in general and the issues they can cause. Which type of loose connection is most dangerous and why? Circuits and locations where loose or open connections present the highest risk. And towards the end, I'll share a real life story where someone did one thing correctly and almost lost their house anyway. If you're new here, I'm John with Backyard Maine. I spent over 40 years in the electrical trade and I've seen firsthand how small connection issues can create big problems. So let's jump right into it. When we talk about loose connections, what we're really talking about is resistance. Electricity wants a solid, low resistance current path, and when connections loosen, even slightly, resistance goes up. That resistance creates heat, arcing, melting insulation, and in some cases, fire. And here's the important part. Not all wires behave the same way when they become loose or open. So let's break it down. Loose hot wires. Loose connections on hot wires are usually the easiest to spot. They can cause breakers to trip if the loose connection is close to the breaker. Fluctuating circuit voltage, flickering lights cause damage to electronics, visible arcing, melting insulation, and heat damage at the terminals, wire connectors, or devices. They can be hidden in boxes or fixtures, and they can, in some cases, cause fires. They're dangerous, no question, but they often make themselves known. This type of loose connection is what prompted the implementation of AFCI protection back in 2002. But there are about 100 million U.S. homes that were built before the protection was required. So there is a lot of risk still out there. Loose ground wires. Ground wires don't carry current during normal operation. Their purpose is to keep all non-current carrying conductive metal parts at the same potential and to provide a low impedance current path back to the source for short circuit and ground fault protection. This is accomplished through the bonding jumper, which physically connects the neutral to ground at the service disconnect. Loose grounds are dangerous because they can prevent your breakers from tripping during a fault. These are very hard to spot because the circuit will function fine without them in most cases. You can find an open ground with a multimeter or with an outlet tester like I have here. They're cheap and very handy to have around the house. I'll link all my tool recommendations at this QR code and down in the video description. But again, since grounds don't carry current during normal operation, the effect of a loose ground is often invisible unless you're actually looking for it. Next, we'll cover the wire that causes the most problems when it becomes loose, or even worse, if it becomes open. Neutral wires. Neutral wires carry the same current as the hot wires do in a single circuit, or they carry the imbalance load in a multi-wire branch circuit that's wired correctly. Some 240 volt circuits, like a clothes dryer for example, will have a neutral wire as well. It provides a return current path for 120 volt components in the circuit, like controls or drum lights. In any case, neutral wires, like hot wires, are current carrying conductors. When a neutral becomes loose or opens up, things can get unpredictable and fast. Connections can overheat without tripping a breaker, but voltage can also rise on some circuits and lower on others. This is where the fire hazard really ramps up. We'll go over that in a minute, along with a real-life example of a neutral failure that almost cost someone their home. You know, after over 40 years in the electrical trade, I've learned that most serious electrical problems start with small things that people miss. So I put together a simple, printable home electrical safety checklist based on the things that I personally look for. If you want to grab a copy, it's linked down below. Okay, let's talk about the 4 locations where a loose or open neutral can cause problems. Number 1, on a branch circuit. On a single branch circuit, a loose neutral is very similar to a loose hot wire. So, like our hot wires, a loose neutral can cause fluctuating voltage, flickering lights, damaged electronics, visible arcing, melted insulation, heat damage to terminals, wire connectors, or devices. While it is bad, it can get much worse. Number 2, on a multi-wire branch circuit. A loose or open neutral connection on a multi-wire branch circuit can become very dangerous. A multi-wire branch circuit is a circuit with 2 hot wires from separate breakers on different legs that share one common neutral. I made a video about them that covers how they're wired, how they can become dangerous, and how to keep safe. There's some really important information in that video, and since you most likely have one or more of these circuits in your home, you may want to watch that video next. I'll link that video at the end of this one. Now, loose connections on a multi-wire branch circuit will cause all the problems that we already talked about, but loose connections often become open connections over time, and that's where things get serious. A failed neutral connection on these circuits can be catastrophic. If the neutral connection fails or is opened, the 2 circuits are now in a series. Depending on what's connected, voltage can increase on one circuit and drop on the other. This can burn up appliances and cause a fire. This is one of the most misunderstood hazards I see, and it's why I made a dedicated video on the topic. Location number 3, at the main panel or meter enclosure. A lost neutral at the main panel or at the meter enclosure can be extremely dangerous. It essentially turns your whole electrical panel into multi-wire branch circuits with a lost neutral. It can affect every circuit in the house, cause serious voltage swings, overheat wiring, damage many of the connected loads, and even cause some of the loads to catch on fire. The good news is these connections are usually made by professionals and they tend to stay intact, so it's not a very common failure point. There is one area though where a loose or open neutral is common and it presents the same hazard. Location number 4, generator connections. Portable generators introduce additional connection points and they're much more prone to loose connections. Let's break it down. Generator receptacles. Whether you're connecting to the 30 or to the 50 amp receptacle on your generator, they both have wires connected to the back of them, as well as the receptacle connection itself. Generators create a lot of vibration, which can be hard on electrical connections. Be sure to inspect your receptacles before each use and make sure your plugs are fully inserted. If it's the L1430R twist lock receptacle, be sure to twist the plug to lock it in place. Power cord. The cord itself should be fine as long as it's sized correctly and it hasn't been damaged. Always inspect the cord before each use and replace it if necessary. Your connection plugs. This is one of the most common places to find loose or open connections. Plugs are subject to vibration from the generator, which can cause connections to loosen over time. The plugs are also exposed to the elements, which can lead to corroded connections. Heating and cooling cycles can cause connections to come loose as well. And some of the cheaper cables you buy online may be loose right from the manufacturer. Also, many cords and plugs are assembled at home, and if the connections weren't torqued tight, they may become loose over time. So it's a good idea to inspect the plugs before use. Look for signs of heat or damage at both plug ends. Heat from a loose connection will often transfer to the blades of the male plug and the slots of the female plug. If you see any discoloration, charring, or melting, the plug will need to be replaced. If your plugs have screw terminals, which many do, it's a good idea to retorque the connections periodically to make sure they're tight. Next in line is the inlet box. This is where we connect our generator power cord to our home. It's often called an inlet receptacle, even by me, but it's actually an inlet plug with male prongs. This one is an L1430P. It's not a common failure point, especially if it was professionally installed, but it is another point of connection which could become loose. Same thing here though, inspect for any signs of heat and tighten connections or replace the inlet if needed. Lastly, we have our panel terminations. This is the final place where connections can become loose or even open up completely. If they were installed and torqued correctly, you shouldn't have a problem here. But again, it's another possible failure point. A loose or open neutral is dangerous, and between the generator output and the neutral bus in your panel, there are at least 7 connection points. This is one of the reasons why generator backfeeds must be done exactly right. So, what happens when you lose a neutral connection on your generator backfeed? Like I mentioned earlier, when you lose a neutral connection, voltage can either increase or decrease depending on the resistance in the circuit. At that point, the system is no longer behaving like a normal 120-240 volt system. It's essentially become a series circuit. And that means some 120 volt loads can suddenly see well over 200 volts. And this isn't just electrical theory, it's actually what happened to a fellow YouTube creator over at Blues Rider DF. After running his generator for years, he realized that he'd been operating it with a bonded neutral and learned that for his installation, a floating neutral was actually required. If a bonded versus a floating neutral sounds confusing to you, you're not alone. I made a dedicated video on the subject that I'll link at the end of this one. It also covers when a ground rod is and isn't required for generators. So definitely check that video out as well. So anyway, he did the right thing. He removed the neutral to ground bond on his generator and corrected the configuration. It was simply removing the ground jumper from the neutral to the frame of his generator. A few days later, he experienced a power outage, so he connected his generator up as usual, but he switched it on and noticed it was running really rough, and it almost stalled. A few seconds later, he noticed the lights in his house were flickering, and then the breaker on the generator tripped. His house filled with smoke, and he called 911. When the fire department arrived, they found a surge protector power strip that had melted and charred and was very close to bursting into flames. At first, he assumed that he had made a mistake by removing the neutral and ground bond on his generator, but that was not the case. He discovered that the real problem was an open neutral connection on the plug end of his power cord. That open neutral put high voltage on several circuits and nearly caused a house fire. If you want to see the full breakdown, I'll link his video down in the description. This story is such an important lesson because it shows us 3 things. Doing one thing right doesn't make the whole system safe. Connections matter just as much as configuration, and one small mistake like a loose connection can cause big problems. I'll link that multi-wire branch circuit video right here for you to watch next. Or if you want to learn more about bonded and floating neutral requirements, I'll link that video here as well. I really appreciate you watching, my friends. I'm John from Backyard Maine. I'll see you on the next one.